The auction hall was crowded with people from different planets. They all came to see the dragons. Station Theta 7 floated in space like a giant metal ring. Inside, the air smelled like expensive perfume and metal. Beings with scales, fur, and skin in all colors walked around looking at the creatures. The dragons sat in glass boxes that glowed with blue light. Each dragon was beautiful and strong. Some dragons had red scales that looked like fire. Others had blue scales that looked like water. They could breathe fire or make ice with their breath. Rich people paid millions of credits to own these creatures. But in the back corner, away from the bright lights, there was a different area. People called it the rejection pen. This was where the auction house put the creatures nobody wanted. The light here was dim and gray. The floor was dusty. In the smallest pen sat a dragon named Kale. He was small for a dragon, about the size of a large dog. His scales were gray and dull, like old metal left in the rain. His eyes were dark brown and he looked tired. While other dragons roared and showed their power, Kale just sat quietly. A tall alien with purple skin walked past Kale's pen. She had 4 arms and wore expensive jewelry. She looked at Kale and laughed. Her friend, who had blue fur and big horns, shook his head. "That one has been here for 15 cycles, the purple alien said. "Nobody wants a powerless dragon. What's the point?" "I heard he can't even breathe fire," the blue one added. "They tested him many times. Nothing. He's defective." Kale heard them but did not move. He had heard these words many times before. Powerless, defective, useless. The words did not hurt anymore. He just felt empty inside. Marcus Chen walked through the crowd with his parents. He was 14 years old with black hair and brown eyes. His family came from Earth, a planet that only joined the galaxy 50 years ago. Many aliens still thought humans were new and didn't know much about space. Marcus's mother was a xenobiologist. She studied alien life forms. His father was an engineer who fixed space stations. They brought Marcus to the auction so he could learn about different creatures. Marcus was supposed to start at the Galactic Academy next year, so this was like homework for him. "Stay close, Marcus," his mother said. She was busy taking notes on her data pad. "Some of these creatures are very dangerous." "I will, Mom," Marcus said. But his attention was somewhere else. He felt something strange. It was like someone was calling to him, but there was no sound. The feeling pulled at his chest. Marcus followed the feeling. He walked away from the bright displays and the loud crowds. He found himself in the back corner. The rejection pen. He saw the small gray dragon sitting alone. When Marcus looked at Kale, something happened. The pulling feeling in his chest got stronger. The dragon lifted his head and looked right at Marcus. For a moment, neither of them moved. It felt like time had stopped. "You shouldn't be back here, kid," a voice said. An auctioneer walked over. He was a short, fat alien with green skin and too many teeth. "These creatures are rejects. Nothing to see." "What's wrong with him?" Marcus asked, pointing at Kale. The auctioneer laughed. "That one? He's a dud. No fire breath. No ice powers. No strength. He can't do anything. We keep him here hoping someone might buy him for cheap. But nobody wants a useless dragon." "How much?" Marcus asked. The auctioneer's eyes went wide. "You want to buy it?" "You're serious?" He laughed again. 2,000 credits. That's less than a speeder bike costs. Marcus had been saving money for 3 years. He worked part-time at the station's food court. He fixed computers for neighbors. He did odd jobs. He saved everything for his academy tuition. He had exactly 2,000 credits. He looked at Kale again. The dragon's dark eyes seemed to understand. They seemed to say, "Please, don't leave me here alone. I'll take him," Marcus said. The auctioneer couldn't believe it, but he was happy to get rid of Kale. He processed the payment quickly. Marcus's parents found him just as the deal was done. "Marcus, what did you do?" His mother gasped. "I bought him," Marcus said, looking at Kale's pen. "That was your academy money," his father said. He looked shocked. "Marcus, do you know what you just did?" "I know, Dad," Marcus said quietly. "But I had to. I felt something. He needs me." The bonding ceremony was simple. The auctioneer brought Kale out of his pen. The dragon walked slowly, his head down. Marcus kneeled so he could look at Kale at eye level. "I'm Marcus," he said softly. "I'm going to take care of you. I promise." The auctioneer placed Marcus's hand on Kale's head. He spoke words in an ancient language. A warm light glowed between them. Marcus felt warmth spread through his body. It felt like sunshine after a cold day. Something appeared around Marcus's neck. It was a crystal necklace. The crystal was clear like glass with small symbols carved inside it. The symbols glowed with a faint blue light, then faded. "The bond is complete," the auctioneer said. "The creature is yours now. Good luck with it. You'll need it." He walked away, still chuckling. People around them whispered and pointed. Marcus heard their words clearly. Foolish human. Wasted his money on garbage. Humans are so naive. They don't understand anything. Marcus's face turned red, but he didn't say anything. He gently picked up Kale. The dragon was light, lighter than Marcus expected. Kyle's scales felt smooth and cool. As they left the auction hall, Marcus felt the crystal necklace against his chest. It was warm. The symbols inside seemed to move, but when he looked directly at them, they were still. Marcus's parents didn't say much on the walk back to their ship. They were worried and disappointed. Marcus knew they were right to be upset. He had spent all his money, but somehow he knew he had made the right choice. That night on their family transport ship, Marcus made a small bed for Kale in his room. He used blankets and pillows. Kale curled up and watched Marcus with those dark, intelligent eyes. "I don't care what they say," Marcus whispered. "You're not useless. I know you're special." I felt it. For the first time, Marcus saw something change in Kale's eyes. It looked like hope. The crystal necklace glowed softly in the dark, and Marcus touched it gently. The symbols inside seemed to pulse with his heartbeat. Marcus didn't know it yet, but his life had just changed forever. The unwanted dragon and the human boy were now connected by something ancient and powerful, and soon they would discover just how special that connection really was. The transport ship traveled through space back to their home colony. Marcus spent most of his time in his room with Kale. The dragon was quiet and gentle. He followed Marcus everywhere with slow, careful steps. Marcus tried everything to connect with Kale. He talked to him about Earth and his favorite games. He showed him pictures and videos. He read books out loud. Kyle always listened, his dark eyes watching Marcus carefully, but the dragon never made a sound. One day, Marcus's mother had some alien friends visit the ship. They came to see the famous powerless dragon. A tall woman with silver skin laughed when she saw Kale. "This is what you spent your academy money on?" she asked. "My daughter has a real dragon. It can fly through fire and not get burned. What can yours do?" Marcus felt his face get hot with anger. But before he could speak, he felt something. Kale moved closer to him and sat down right next to his leg. The dragon looked up at the woman with calm, steady eyes. There was something in that look. It was not fear or sadness. It was like Kale was saying, "I don't need to prove anything to you." The woman looked uncomfortable and left quickly. Marcus knelt down and hugged Kale. "Thank you," he whispered. That night, something strange happened. Marcus was sleeping when he started to dream. But this was not a normal dream. It felt too real, too clear. In the dream, Marcus saw a war. Dragons flew through space, not needing ships or suits. They moved between stars like they were swimming through water. These dragons were huge, bigger than space stations. Their scales shined with colors Marcus had never seen before. The dragons were fighting something. Marcus couldn't see what it was clearly. The enemy looked like shadows with teeth. When these shadow things touched planets or stars, those places just disappeared. Not exploded, just gone like they were never there. Then Marcus saw one dragon that looked familiar. It was small compared to the others with gray scales. It looked like Kale, but bigger and stronger. The dragon was doing something with its power. It was locking something away, sealing it. Other dragons joined in. Together they created a barrier, a seal. They were locking away their own power to stop the shadow things. It was a sacrifice. They chose to become weak to save everyone else. Marcus woke up suddenly. His heart was beating fast. He was sweating. The dream felt too real to be just a dream. He looked over at Kale's bed. The dragon was awake, watching him with those knowing eyes. "Was that you?" Marcus whispered. "Were you showing me something?" Kale didn't answer, but something else did. The crystal necklace around Marcus's neck suddenly got warm. It started glowing with bright blue light. Marcus grabbed it and looked at it closely. The symbols inside the crystal were moving. They flowed like water, forming patterns and shapes. Marcus had never seen writing like this before. It looked ancient, older than anything in the galactic museums. Marcus got out of bed and turned on his computer. He tried to scan the symbols with his data pad. The device made a confused beeping sound. Language unknown, the screen said. Pattern does not match any known writing system in the Galactic database. Marcus felt excited and confused at the same time. How could there be a language that the Galactic database didn't know? The database had information about millions of languages from thousands of planets. He went to find his father. His dad was in the ship's engineering room fixing something as always. "Dad, can you help me with something?" Marcus asked. He showed him the glowing necklace. His father looked at it with wide eyes. He pulled out his advanced scanner, the one he used for finding hidden problems in ships. He scanned the crystal from every angle. "This is impossible," his father said. "Marcus, these symbols are older than the Galactic Council itself. The scanner is saying they come from before recorded history. From before the first known civilizations. Can you read them?" Marcus asked. His father shook his head. "No, but your mother has a quantum linguistics program. It can study patterns in languages. Maybe it can help." For the next week, Marcus worked on the puzzle. He took pictures of the symbols when they glowed. He noticed they glowed at different times, especially when he felt strong emotions. When he was happy, they glowed soft blue. When he was scared, they glowed bright white. Marcus used his mother's linguistics program. The program was designed to find patterns in unknown languages. It looked at how symbols appeared together. It studied their shapes and positions. One night, Marcus had a breakthrough. He was feeling frustrated and tired. He had been working for hours with no progress. He looked at Kale, who was lying on his bed watching Marcus work. "I wish you could just tell me what this means," Marcus said. The moment he said those words, the necklace blazed with light. It was so bright that Marcus had to close his eyes. When he opened them again, he saw something amazing. The symbols had arranged themselves in a new pattern. The linguistics program started beeping excitedly. It had found something. A pattern, a structure, the beginning of understanding. Marcus worked through the night. His human brain was good at finding patterns. That's what humans were known for in the galaxy. Other species were stronger or faster or smarter at math. But humans could see patterns in chaos. They could find meaning in randomness. As the sun came up outside the ship's window, Marcus translated the first phrase. His hands were shaking as he read the words on his screen. Not all strength roars. Some strength waits. Marcus looked at Kale. The dragon was sitting up now, watching him. There was something different in Kale's eyes. It was like he was smiling, even though dragons can't really smile. "This isn't just a necklace, is it?" Marcus said slowly. "It's a seal. Something is locked inside you. Your power is hidden." Kale tilted his head, and Marcus knew he was right. This was why nobody wanted Kale. They thought he was powerless, but he wasn't. His power was sealed away, hidden behind this ancient lock. Marcus touched the crystal again. "The question is why? Why would you lock away your own power?" He thought about the dream, the war, the shadow creatures, the sacrifice the dragons made. Maybe Kale wasn't broken or defective. Maybe he was exactly what he was supposed to be. A guardian waiting for the right moment. Waiting for the right person. "The writing on this necklace," Marcus said, looking at the glowing symbols. "It's not decoration. It's instructions. Or maybe a warning." He started working even harder to translate the rest of the text. There were many symbols, dozens of them. Each one had to be carefully studied and understood. The linguistics program helped, but Marcus's human intuition was what really made the difference. Over the next few days, more phrases appeared. Marcus wrote them all down carefully. His parents noticed he wasn't sleeping much. His mother brought him food and told him to rest. But Marcus couldn't stop. He felt like he was on the edge of discovering something important, something that would change everything. Kyle stayed by his side the whole time. The dragon seemed to know what Marcus was doing. Sometimes, when Marcus got stuck on a difficult symbol, Kale would make a small sound, just a tiny rumble in his throat. And somehow that would help Marcus figure it out. They were connected now, not just by the bond ceremony, but by something deeper. Marcus could sometimes feel what Kale was feeling. Not in words, but in emotions, patience, hope, and something else, something big waiting to wake up. Late one night, Marcus was so close to finishing the translation, just a few more symbols to go. He could feel the answer waiting, like a door he was about to open. The crystal necklace glowed brighter than ever before. It lit up the whole room with blue light. Kale stood up and walked over to Marcus. The dragon placed his small head on Marcus's knee. In that moment, Marcus felt a rush of images and feelings. He saw the ancient war again, He saw dragons making the choice to seal themselves. He saw thousands of years passing. He saw Kale waiting in that auction house, passed over again and again, waiting for someone who would try to understand instead of just use. Marcus understood now. This was a test. The seal was designed to find someone worthy. Not someone looking for power, but someone looking for connection. Someone who would choose to understand rather than command. I get it now, Marcus whispered, his hand on Kyle's head. You've been waiting for someone who would ask permission instead of taking power. Someone who would try to read the lock instead of breaking it. The crystal pulsed with warm light as if agreeing with him. Marcus smiled and went back to his translation with new energy. He was almost there. Soon he would know what the necklace really said. Soon he would understand what Kale truly was, and then they would have to decide what to do next. 3 weeks had passed since Marcus started working on the translation. He had lost weight because he forgot to eat sometimes. His eyes had dark circles under them. But he didn't care. He was so close now. The linguistics program had learned the language structure. Marcus had figured out most of the symbols. Only the final part remained. The most important part. The part that would tell him what to do. It was late at night when Marcus finally translated the last symbol. His hands were shaking as he put all the pieces together. He read the complete message slowly, wanting to make sure he got every word right. The crystal necklace blazed with light as he read the words out loud. Here lies Kaltharos, last sentinel of the Void Gate, sealed by choice, bound by honor, waiting for one worthy of courage over power. Break this seal knowing this truth. What was locked away was locked to protect reality itself. Marcus sat back in his chair. His mind was racing. Kaltharos. That was Kale's full name. And he wasn't just any dragon. He was a sentinel. A guardian of something called the Void Gate. Void Gate, Marcus whispered. He got up and went to his computer. He searched the Galactic history database for those words. At first he found nothing. Then he tried searching in the mythology section. There, buried in old stories that most people thought were just legends, he found something. 10,000 years ago, there was an event called the Sealing. According to the myths, reality itself was in danger. Creatures from outside normal space were trying to get in. They wanted to consume everything. The ancient dragons fought them and finally locked them away. But to keep the lock strong, the dragons had to seal away their own power. They became the locks themselves. They were called sentinels, guardians who gave up everything to protect reality. Most people thought this was just a story, a fairy tale. But Marcus knew better now. He looked at Kale, who was watching him with those ancient, patient eyes. You're not a descendant of those dragons, Marcus said slowly. You're one of the original sentinels. You're 10,000 years old. Kale's eyes seemed to confirm it. He had been waiting for 10,000 years. Passed over at auction after auction, waiting for the right person, someone who would understand. Someone who would make the right choice. Marcus read the inscription again. Break this seal knowing this truth. What was locked away was locked to protect reality itself. This was a warning. If he broke the seal, Kale would get his power back. But something else might wake up too. The things the sentinels locked away. The creatures from outside reality. Marcus felt scared. This was too big. He was just a 14-year-old kid from Earth. How could he make a decision this important? A decision that might affect the entire galaxy? He spent the next few days reading everything he could find about the sealing. Most of it was in the mythology sections of libraries. Nobody took these stories seriously anymore. They were too old, too impossible. But Marcus found interesting details. The story said that the sentinels would only unseal themselves when the time was right. When someone worthy appeared, someone who valued courage over power. The other dragons at the auction were descendants of the sentinels. They had some power, but not the true ancient power. Only the sealed sentinels had that. And there weren't many left. Most had been lost over the thousands of years. Marcus couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the choice. Should he leave Kale sealed and safe? Or should he risk breaking the seal? One morning, Marcus was sitting on the floor of his room.
Kale came over and sat next to him.
The dragon looked at Marcus with those deep, understanding eyes. Marcus realized something. He had been thinking about this all wrong. He had been trying to decide for Kale. But that wasn't right. Kale was not his property. Kale was his partner. His friend, Kale, Marcus said softly. I've been trying to decide what to do. But I shouldn't be the only one making this choice. You're the one who's been sealed for 10,000 years. You're the one who made the sacrifice. Marcus touched the crystal necklace. If I can break this seal, I will. But only if you want me to. I need to know what you want. Do you want to stay sealed and safe? Or do you want your power back, even if it's dangerous? For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Kale did something he had never done before. He made a sound. It was a soft rumble like distant thunder. It grew louder, deeper. Not a roar. Something more, a call, an answer. Through their bond, Marcus felt Kale's response. Not in words, but in pure emotion. 10,000 years of waiting. 10,000 years of hoping someone would ask instead of command. Someone who would offer choice instead of taking power. Kale wanted to be free. But more than that, he wanted a partner. Someone who would stand with him, not behind him or in front of him. Someone who understood that true strength was in choosing together. Tears filled Marcus's eyes. Okay, he said. We'll do this together. Whatever happens next, we'll face it together. Marcus looked at the necklace. He had translated the words, but he still didn't know how to break the seal. He studied the inscription again. There, at the very end, were a few more symbols. He had thought they were just decoration, but now he looked closer. They were instructions. Simple instructions. To break the seal, he just needed to say the right words. Words that showed he understood. Words that proved he was worthy. Marcus read the phrase carefully. Then he translated it. When he saw what it said, he smiled. Of course, that was the key. That was the test. He placed his hand on Kyle's head. The dragon looked up at him, ready, trusting. Marcus spoke the words clearly, meaning every one of them. I choose the guardian, not the weapon. I choose the partner, not the tool. I choose courage over power. Break the seal, Kaltheros, last sentinel of the Void Gate. Wake up and be free. For a moment, nothing happened. The room was completely silent. Then the crystal necklace exploded with light. Not a small glow. A blast of pure white energy that filled the entire room. Marcus had to close his eyes. The light was too bright. He felt the necklace get hot against his chest, then suddenly cold, then it felt like nothing at all. When he opened his eyes, the crystal was gone. It had turned to dust that sparkled in the air and slowly faded away. Marcus looked at Kale. The dragon was glowing. His whole body was surrounded by light. The light was changing colors, shifting through every color Marcus had ever seen and some he hadn't. Then the light exploded outward. It passed through the walls of the ship like they weren't there. It spread out into space. Marcus felt it rush past him, warm and powerful but not harmful. It was pure energy, pure awakening. When the light faded, Marcus saw Kale, but it wasn't the same Kale anymore. The small gray dragon was gone. In his place stood something magnificent. Kale was 3 times bigger now, though still small for a dragon. His scales were no longer gray. They shifted colors constantly, like oil on water, like the surface of a soap bubble. They showed every color and no color at the same time. But it was Kale's eyes that really changed. They were no longer simple dark brown. Now they looked deep, endless. Marcus could see things moving in those eyes. Stars, galaxies, the space between spaces, reality itself reflected in dragon eyes. Kale looked at Marcus, and for the first time ever, he spoke. His voice was deep and ancient, but also gentle. Like rock speaking, like time itself having a voice. Thank you, Marcus Cheneverth, Kale said. For 10,000 years I waited. Many saw me. None understood. You were the first to ask instead of demand. The first to read instead of break. The first worthy of the choice. Marcus couldn't speak. He just stared. His dragon, his friend, was something far more than he had imagined. What happens now? Marcus finally asked. Kale's eyes looked sad. Now we wait. The seal is broken, I am free. But the energy of my awakening has spread. It will be felt. And those who have slept will know. The ones we locked away, they will begin to stir. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Did I just make a huge mistake? Kyle shook his great head. No, young one. This was meant to happen. The seal was not meant to last forever. It was meant to last until someone worthy appeared. Someone who could help us face what comes next. That someone is you. Before Marcus could ask more questions, alarms started blaring all over the ship. His father's voice came over the speakers, panicked and confused. Everyone to the bridge. Now something just happened. Energy readings off the charts. The Galactic Council is sending ships. They're demanding to know what's going on. Marcus, if this has something to do with that dragon, you need to tell me right now. Marcus looked at Kale. The dragon looked back. And in that moment, Marcus knew everything had changed. Their quiet life was over. The galaxy had noticed, and soon they would have to explain what they had done. Soon they would have to face whatever was coming. Together. The bridge of the ship was chaos. Screens flashed with warnings. His mother was talking quickly into communication devices. His father was trying to control the ship's systems. Everything was beeping and blaring at once. Marcus walked in with Kale. Everyone froze. They stared at the transformed dragon. Nobody could speak for a long moment. Marcus, his mother whispered, "What happened?" "What did you do?" "I broke the seal," Marcus said simply. "This is Kale Theros. He's a sentinel. He's been sealed for 10,000 years. And I freed him." Before his parents could respond, the main screen lit up. The face of a Galactic Council member appeared. It was an elderly Drawl, a reptilian species that had been part of the Council for thousands of years. Her scales were deep blue and her eyes were sharp. "This is Ambassador Sira of the Galactic Council," she said. Her voice was cold and angry. "We detected a massive energy signature from your ship. An energy pattern that should not exist. Explain yourselves immediately." Marcus stepped forward. "Ambassador, my name is Marcus Chen. I'm a human from Earth. I freed a sentinel dragon. His name is Kale Theros." The ambassador's eyes went wide. "Impossible. The sentinels are myths, stories. They don't exist." Kale moved closer to the screen so the ambassador could see him clearly. When she saw his eyes, saw the colors shifting in his scales, saw the reality bending around him slightly, her expression changed. Fear replaced anger. "By the ancient stars," she breathed. "It's real. You're real." "I am Kale Theros," the dragon said, his voice filling the bridge. "Last sentinel of the Void Gate. I have been sealed since the Great Sealing 10,000 years ago. This human boy freed me by making the worthy choice." The ambassador looked terrified. "Human boy, do you know what you've done? The sentinels sealed themselves to lock away the harvesters. If you've broken the seal, you may have let them back in." "The harvesters," Marcus said. "The shadow creatures from my dreams. The ones that erase reality." "You don't understand how dangerous this is," the ambassador said. Her voice was shaking now. "The council demands that you surrender the dragon immediately. We will contain it, study it. Make sure the threat is controlled. Contain?" Kale's voice grew deeper. "I am not a thing to be contained. I am a guardian. I chose to seal myself to protect all life, and now I choose to wake because the time is right. The human will surrender you," the ambassador said, "or we will take you by force. Humans are too young, too naive to handle this responsibility." Marcus felt anger rise in his chest. "No," he said firmly. "Kale is not mine to surrender. We're partners. We're bonded. You can't just take him." "We are the Galactic Council," the ambassador said coldly. "We can do whatever is necessary to protect the galaxy." Suddenly, Kyle moved. He didn't attack. He didn't threaten. He simply demonstrated what he could do. He lifted one claw and made a small gesture. On the screen, the ambassador froze. Not the picture. The actual ambassador. Time had stopped for her. "I have placed her in a time loop," Kale said calmly. "She will experience the same moment over and over until I release her. She is not harmed. But this shows what a sentinel can do. We do not control fire or ice. We control concepts, time, space, probability, reality itself." Marcus's parents looked shocked. Marcus felt a mix of awe and fear. Kale was incredibly powerful. More powerful than any weapon the council had. Kale released the ambassador. She gasped and stumbled back. "What? What did you do?" "I showed you why you cannot contain me," Kale said. "But I do not wish to fight you. I wish to work with you. The boy Marcus has freed me because he understood. He chose partnership over power. That is what the galaxy needs now." The ambassador was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "The council will want to meet you. Both of you. And we will decide what happens next." "We accept," Marcus said before anyone could stop him. "We'll come to the council. We'll explain everything. But Kale stays with me. That's not negotiable." The ambassador nodded slowly. "Very well. But know this, human. If the harvesters return because of what you did, it will be on your head." The screen went black. Marcus's legs felt weak. He sat down hard on the floor. Kale lay down next to him, his huge head resting on the ground. "Did I really just challenge the Galactic Council?" Marcus asked weakly. "You stood up for what was right," his mother said. She came over and hugged him. "I'm proud of you, Marcus. Terrified, but proud." Over the next few days, they traveled to the council headquarters. It was on a massive space station that orbited a binary star system. The station was beautiful, built from crystal and metal that shined in the light of the two suns. Marcus studied everything he could about the Sentinels and the Harvesters. Kale helped him, sharing memories from 10,000 years ago. Marcus learned that Kale's power wasn't just about fighting. It was about perception. Kale could see threats across dimensions. He could feel disturbances in reality. "Can you feel them now?" Marcus asked one night. "The Harvesters? Are they coming back?" Kale was quiet for a long time. "I feel something," he finally said. "At the edge of known space. Like ripples in water. The seal held them back for 10,000 years. But seals weaken over time. The seal was always meant to be broken and remade. That's what the Sentinels were waiting for. Someone who could help us create a new, stronger seal." "So we didn't make things worse?" Marcus asked hopefully. "We made things different," Kale said. The old seal was failing. Better to break it on purpose than let it shatter on its own. But yes, there is danger now. The Harvesters will sense the weakness. They will try to come through. When they arrived at the council station, guards met them. But these weren't regular guards. They were council enforcers, the most powerful warriors in the galaxy. They looked at Kale with fear and wonder. The council chamber was huge. Representatives from hundreds of species sat in a circle. In the center was a platform where Marcus and Kale stood. All eyes were on them. Ambassador Sierra spoke first. "We have confirmed it. This creature is indeed a sentinel. The energy signature matches ancient records. The question now is, what do we do about it?" A large alien with 4 arms stood up. "We should contain it. Study it, learn from it. But we cannot allow a human child to control something this powerful." "I do not control him," Marcus said loudly. His voice echoed in the chamber. "We're partners. We're bonded, and I freed him because he asked me to. Because after 10,000 years he deserved to choose," another council member spoke. This one looked like a floating crystal. "The boy speaks of choice. But what about the choice of the billions who might die if the Harvesters return?" Kale's voice filled the chamber. "The seal was always temporary. It was dying. In another 100 years, maybe less, it would have failed completely. The Harvesters would have returned with no warning and no defense. By breaking the seal now, we have time to prepare. We have time to find the other Sentinels. We have time to build a better protection." The chamber erupted in noise. Everyone was talking at once. Some were scared. Some were angry. Some looked hopeful. "Other Sentinels?" Ambassador Sierra asked. "You mean there are more?" 7 others, Kale said. "Scattered across the galaxy, hidden, sealed, waiting for the right partners to find them." Marcus felt a chill. "The other rejected dragons," he said. "At the auction. They weren't all descendants. Some of them were sealed sentinels too." Kale nodded. "We separated ourselves. We waited in different places. We needed different kinds of partners. Different kinds of courage." Before anyone could respond, alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed throughout the chamber. A technician ran in looking terrified. "Counselors," she shouted. "We're receiving reports from the outer rim. Multiple colonies have gone dark. Not destroyed, just gone like they were erased. And we're detecting something coming through the rifts. Something impossible." The chamber went silent. Everyone looked at Marcus and Kale. Marcus felt his stomach drop. He knew what this was. The Harvesters. They were coming. Ambassador Sierra's voice was cold. "It seems your seal breaking has consequences, human." "The Harvesters would have come anyway," Kale said firmly. The old seal was failing. "At least now we can fight back. At least now we have a chance. Send our military fleet," a council member ordered. "All available ships. We'll stop them." "Your weapons won't work," Kale said quietly. "Harvesters don't exist in normal reality. You can't shoot them. You can't bomb them. They erase matter from existence. Only Sentinels can fight them. Only we can rewrite the boundaries between dimensions." Marcus looked at Kale. "We need to find the other Sentinels fast." "Yes," Kale agreed. "But it took you 3 weeks to decode my seal. We don't have that much time." Marcus thought hard. Then he had an idea. "What if we don't have to decode all of them? What if there are other humans who can do it? Humans are good at pattern recognition. What if we get more humans to help?" The council members looked at each other. Ambassador Sierra stood up. "You want us to trust more humans with this? More children?" "Yes," Marcus said firmly. "Because we're the ones who will try to understand instead of just take." We're the ones who will ask permission instead of command. That's what the Sentinels need. That's what the SEALs were designed to find. Kyle looked at Marcus with pride. The boy speaks truth. Humans may be young to the galaxy, but they have something older species have lost. They remember how to choose partnership over dominance. Another alarm blared. More colonies were going dark. The harvesters were getting closer. The council finally agreed. They had no choice. Their military fleets were failing. Every ship they sent to fight the harvesters came back with the same report. The enemy couldn't be hit. Weapons passed right through them. And wherever the harvesters touched, reality simply ended. Marcus and Kale were taken to a special facility. There they met an ancient being named Memoria. She looked like a crystal that floated in the air, constantly changing colors. She was the council's keeper of old records. She knew things that had been forgotten by everyone else. I remember the Sentinels, Memoria said in a voice like wind chimes. I was young when they sealed themselves. I watched them make the choice. They knew this day would come. She showed Marcus and Kale the true history. Not the myths, but the real story. The harvesters were beings from outside normal space. They didn't live in dimensions like regular creatures. They existed in the spaces between dimensions. They were hungry for reality itself. The Sentinels couldn't destroy them, Memoria explained. You cannot destroy something that doesn't truly exist in our reality. But you could lock them out. The Sentinels sealed themselves to become living locks. They closed the rifts. They became the barrier. But the seal was always meant to be temporary, Kyle added. We knew we couldn't hold them forever. We needed the galaxy to grow, to evolve, to find partners who could help us create a permanent solution. Marcus understood now. That's why you needed humans. We're young. We still ask questions. We still look for partnerships. Older species got comfortable. They stopped asking and started commanding. Exactly, Memoria chimed. The Sentinels needed beings who valued courage over power, who would ask permission rather than take. Humans, despite being new to the galaxy, remember this. It's in your nature. Training began immediately. Marcus learned that his bond with Kale was deeper than he thought. He could see through Kale's eyes sometimes. He could feel what Kale felt. And Kale could sense Marcus's thoughts and emotions. But the news from the outer colonies got worse every day. Whole planets were disappearing. Not exploding. Not conquered. Just erased. Like they had never existed at all. The harvesters were moving inward, getting closer to the core worlds. Marcus felt guilty. He tried not to show it, but Kale could sense it through their bond. You blame yourself, Kale said one night. They were alone in their quarters. I broke the seal, Marcus said quietly. People are dying because of my choice. People would have died anyway, Kale said gently. The old seal was failing. If you hadn't freed me, if you hadn't made the choice, the seal would have shattered on its own in a few years, maybe less. And then there would be no warning. No preparation. No hope. Marcus wanted to believe that. But it was hard. Every day he saw reports of lost colonies, lost lives, lost worlds. Then one day Kale revealed something important. Marcus, I need to tell you the deepest truth. The one that even Memoria doesn't fully know. The harvesters were not always our enemies. Long ago they were part of reality. But they became hungry. They wanted more. They tried to consume everything. The Sentinels didn't just lock them out. We locked away part of ourselves too, our connection to them. What does that mean? Marcus asked. It means we can't just destroy them. We have to heal the rift. We have to make them part of reality again, but in a new way. A balanced way. That's what a Sentinel truly does. We don't just guard. We heal reality itself. Marcus felt overwhelmed. This was bigger than he ever imagined. They weren't just fighting monsters. They were trying to fix something broken in the fabric of reality itself. Meanwhile, the Council sent out calls across the galaxy. They were looking for the other sealed Sentinels, and they were looking for humans who might be able to free them. Young humans from Earth and its colonies volunteered. Teenagers and young adults who heard the story of Marcus and Kale, who wanted to help, who wanted to be part of something important. The first group arrived at the station. There were 7 of them, all different. Some were brave and loud, some were quiet and thoughtful, some were scientists, some were artists, but they all had one thing in common. They were all willing to try to understand instead of just command. Marcus taught them what he learned, how to read the ancient language, how to use pattern recognition, How to connect with a dragon through emotion and trust instead of force. The council had found 3 of the sealed sentinels. They brought them to the station. The dragons looked just like Kale did before he was freed. Small, gray, powerless looking. But Marcus knew better. He could see the wisdom in their eyes. The young humans worked with the dragons. Not everyone succeeded right away. Some humans couldn't make the connection. Some tried too hard to control. But slowly bonds began to form. A girl named Sarah was the first to succeed after Marcus. She was 16, quiet, loved math and puzzles. She bonded with a sentinel named Ashmore. When she freed him, the transformation was just as amazing as Kale's had been. Ashmore grew larger. His scales turned to colors like storm clouds, and his eyes held lightning. More humans succeeded. Each one freed a sentinel. Each transformation was unique. Some sentinels had scales like flowing water. Some had scales like starlight. Each one controlled different aspects of reality: time, space, probability, causality. But they still needed more. Kale said they needed at least 7 sentinels to create a permanent seal. They had 4 now. They needed 3 more. The problem was finding them. The other sentinels were scattered. Some were lost. Some were hidden in places nobody thought to look. Kale used his power to search, reaching out across dimensions, trying to sense his old companions. And the harvesters kept coming. They were at the edge of the core systems now. Investigation teams that went to the lost colonies found nothing. Not ruins, not bodies, just empty space. Reality had been erased there. Like someone had deleted those places from existence. The Council's military tried everything. They built new weapons. They used ancient technology. Nothing worked. The harvesters couldn't be touched by normal means. They existed between dimensions. Regular matter just passed through them. Then came the day everyone feared. A harvester fleet appeared near Earth's sector. They weren't heading for Earth directly, but they were close. Too close. If they changed course, Earth would be gone in hours. Marcus felt his blood turn cold when he heard the news. His home planet. His family's birthplace. Everyone he knew from his childhood was there. "We have to do something," Marcus said. "We can't wait for more sentinels. We have to act now." 4 sentinels are not enough to create a permanent seal, Kale said, but his eyes looked worried. He cared about Marcus, and he knew what Earth meant to him. "Then we don't create a permanent seal," Marcus said. "Not yet. We slow them down. We hold them back. We buy time to find the others." The other human partners agreed. They couldn't just stand by and watch. They had to try. Even if it was dangerous, even if they might fail, the Council gave them permission. What choice did they have? Nothing else was working. The Sentinels and their human partners were the only hope. They prepared for the battle. The 4 Sentinels explained what needed to happen. They would have to work together, use their combined power to create a temporary barrier. It wouldn't destroy the harvesters, but it might push them back, might close some of the rifts, might give the galaxy more time. There was a cost, though. To create even a temporary barrier, someone would have to anchor it. Someone would have to stay inside the rift, holding it closed from the inside. It was incredibly dangerous. The person might not come back. Marcus knew what he had to do. Before Kale could volunteer, before anyone else could speak up, Marcus said, "I'll do it. I'll be the anchor." "No," Kyle said immediately. His voice was fierce. "I won't let you. You're too important. You're my partner." "That's exactly why it has to be me," Marcus said. "Our bond is the strongest. If anyone can survive being inside the rift, it's someone connected to you. And I can't let you sacrifice yourself. Not after everything," they argued. Kale refused to accept it. He said he would find another way. But there was no other way. Not with only 4 sentinels. They needed 7 for a safe, permanent solution. With 4, someone had to take a risk. As they prepared to leave for the battle, Marcus looked at his parents. They had come to the station to say goodbye. His mother was crying. His father looked proud and terrified at the same time. "I'm sorry I spent your academy money," Marcus said with a weak smile. His mother hugged him tight. "You spent it on the right thing. You chose courage. You chose partnership. You chose to save everyone. I'm so proud of you, Marcus." His father handed him something. It was a small photo. Their family, taken on Earth years ago. "Come back to us," his father said. "Please." Marcus put the photo in his pocket. Then he climbed onto Kale's back. The other human partners did the same with their sentinels. Together, the four dragon-human pairs flew toward Earth's sector, toward the Harvester fleet, toward a battle that would decide the fate of reality itself. As they flew through space, Marcus could see the Harvesters ahead. They looked like holes in reality, like someone had cut out pieces of space itself. They moved slowly but steadily, erasing everything they touched. Stars, planets, ships, all gone, all reduced to nothing. Are you sure about this? Kyle asked one last time. The battle was like nothing Marcus had ever imagined. The four sentinels flew through space, their scales glowing with power. Reality itself bent around them. Marcus could feel it through his bond with Kale. The weight of existence, the fabric of space and time. The Harvesters sensed them coming. The shadow creatures turned their attention to the sentinels. They moved faster now, hungry, eager. They could sense the same power that had locked them away for 10,000 years. Remember the plan, Kale called out to the others. We create the barrier together. Channel all our power into one point. Marcus will anchor it from inside the rift. Wait, Sarah shouted. She was on Ashmore's back, her voice clear despite the distance. I have an idea. What if we don't just use one anchor? What if we all anchor it together? That's too dangerous, Kale said. All of you could be lost. But it might work better, another human partner called out. His name was Jin, and he was bonded to a sentinel named Vorith. Together we're stronger. Isn't that the whole point? Partnership. Marcus thought about it. Sarah was right. This whole thing started because he chose partnership with Kale. Not control, not power. Partnership. Maybe that was the key to everything. We do it together, Marcus said. All of us, humans and sentinels. We share the burden. Kale was quiet for a moment. Then Marcus felt something through their bond. Not just agreement. Something more, pride, love, trust. Then we try something never done before, Kale said. We merge. Humans and sentinels together. Not just bonded. Truly combined. One consciousness. One power. One purpose the other sentinels understood. This was what they had been waiting for. Not just partners. Not just helpers. True equals. True unity. The Harvesters were close now. Marcus could see them clearly. They looked like rips in space. Like wounds in reality itself. They moved toward Earth, hungry and unstoppable. Now, Kale commanded. The four sentinels flew together, forming a circle. Their human partners held on tight. Then the merge began. Marcus felt himself pulled forward, not physically but mentally, spiritually. His consciousness reached out and touched Kale's. It was overwhelming. Marcus suddenly knew what it was like to be 10,000 years old. He felt Kale's memories, the ancient war, the choice to seal himself, the long wait, the loneliness, the hope. And Kale felt Marcus's memories, growing up on Earth, learning about the stars, dreaming of adventure, the day at the auction, the choice to spend all his money on an unwanted dragon, the love, the courage, the stubborn human hope that never gave up. They became something new. Not Marcus, not Kale, both and neither. A merged being that was human and dragon together. The other pairs did the same. Four merged consciousnesses, each one a perfect balance of human courage and dragon wisdom. Together they unleashed their power, not to attack, not to destroy, to heal, to seal, to rewrite the boundaries of reality itself. The Harvesters screamed. It was a sound that shouldn't exist, the sound of non-existence itself crying out. They rushed forward, trying to consume the merged beings before the seal could be complete. The battle happened in a space between spaces. It wasn't fought with weapons or strength. It was fought with will, with purpose, with the fundamental force of choosing to exist versus choosing to consume. Marcus felt himself being pulled into the rift. It was dark there, cold, empty. This was where the Harvesters lived, in the spaces between reality. He felt his sense of self starting to fade. It would be so easy to just let go, to become nothing, to rest, but then he felt the others. Sarah was there. Jin was there. The fourth partner, a girl named Amara, was there too. They were all in the rift together, all holding on to each other, all refusing to let go. And deeper than that, he felt the sentinels. Kale was with him, inside him, around him. They were one being now. The dragon's ancient strength combined with the human's stubborn will to survive. Together, they pushed. Not pushing the Harvesters away, pushing reality back together. healing the rift, making whole what had been broken for so long. The harvesters fought back. They tried to pull the merged beings apart, to separate them, to consume them piece by piece. But the partnership was too strong. Human and dragon, courage and wisdom, youth and age, together they were unbreakable. Marcus understood something then. Something important. The harvesters weren't evil. They were lost. They had been part of reality once long ago, but they had been cut off, isolated. They became hungry because they were starving for connection, for existence. We don't have to destroy them, Marcus said to the others through their merged consciousness. We have to bring them back, make them part of reality again. But in a new way, a balanced way. How? Sarah asked. They're too hungry, too dangerous. We give them what they need, Marcus said, not by letting them consume, but by offering. We offer them connection. We offer them a place in reality, not as destroyers, as guardians, like the Sentinels. It was a crazy idea, impossible, but the Sentinels understood. This was what they had been trying to do 10,000 years ago. Not just lock the harvesters away, heal them, bring them home. The four merged beings changed their approach. Instead of fighting, they opened themselves up. They offered the harvesters a piece of their own existence, a connection, a way back into reality that didn't require consuming everything. At first, the harvesters didn't understand. They attacked harder, but slowly one of them stopped. It reached out differently, not to consume, to touch, to connect. Marcus felt the moment of contact. It was like nothing he had ever experienced. The harvester's consciousness was vast and strange. It had been alone for so long. It had forgotten what it meant to be part of something. It only knew hunger. But now, through the connection, it remembered. It remembered being part of reality, being connected to other beings. Being whole, the harvester changed. Its form shifted. It became less like a wound in space and more like a bridge, a connection between dimensions. It wasn't consuming anymore. It was linking. Healing other harvesters saw what happened. One by one, they stopped attacking. One by one, they reached out. They accepted the connection. They chose existence over consumption. The rift began to close, not because it was being sealed, because it was being healed. Reality was becoming whole again. The harvesters weren't being locked out. They were being welcomed back, given a purpose. A place Marcus felt the merge beginning to separate. He was being pulled back to himself, back to being just Marcus. But he wasn't the same Marcus anymore. He carried a piece of Kyle with him now, forever. A fragment of dragon wisdom and cosmic perception. When he opened his eyes, he was on Kyle's back again. They were flying away from where the rift had been. Behind them, the harvesters were different. They looked like curtains of light now. Beautiful, peaceful. They were spreading out across the galaxy, but not to destroy. To connect, to bridge the spaces between dimensions. We did it. Sarah's voice came through the communication channel. She sounded exhausted but happy. We actually did it. The rift is sealed, Kyle confirmed. But more than that, it's healed. The harvesters are no longer a threat. They're part of reality again. Guardians of the dimensional boundaries, just as we Sentinels guard the gates. They flew back to the council station. When they arrived, everyone was watching the screens in amazement. The lost colonies hadn't come back. The erased planets were still gone. But the harvesters had stopped. No more places were disappearing. The threat was over. The council chamber was packed when Marcus and the others arrived. Ambassador Sira stood up. For the first time since Marcus met her, she was smiling. You have saved us all, she said, not just by defeating the harvesters, by healing them, by finding a solution we never imagined. Humanity has shown us something we forgot, the power of choosing partnership, the courage to offer connection instead of control. The council voted that day. Humanity was granted full membership, not as junior partners, as equals, and more than that, humans would help other species learn to truly listen to their companion creatures, to build partnerships instead of ownership. The Sentinels chose to remain active. They stayed bonded to their human partners. Together they would help guard reality, but they would do it differently than before, not by sealing themselves away, by staying connected, by building bridges. Months passed. The galaxy slowly healed. Marcus and Kale traveled, teaching others about partnership. about the importance of asking instead of commanding, about choosing courage over power. One day they returned to Station Theta 7. The auction house was still there, but it was different now. It had been renamed the Bonding Sanctuary. Instead of selling creatures, they helped beings find true partnerships. No more rejection pens, no more unwanted dragons. Marcus stood in the place where he had first seen Kale. The small gray dragon in the corner, passed over and forgotten by everyone. He smiled, remembering that moment, the pull he had felt. The choice he had made. Kale rested his massive head on Marcus's shoulder. The dragon's scales shifted through colors like a sunset. His eyes held galaxies. "Do you regret it?" Kyle asked. "Spending all your money? Missing the academy? Everything that happened?" Marcus laughed. "Are you kidding? I got to save reality. I got to merge consciousness with a dragon. I got to show the galaxy that humans aren't just naive newcomers. And most important, I got you, my best friend, my partner."